Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number 586 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Monday, February 24th, 2025. It is a grayish day here at the Beaver Lodge. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries, and Corvid Moon Publishing. It's going to be an interesting show today, kids. Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
We're just going to skate right by that one. How about yourself?
As you can probably tell, about my voice and my demeanor, it's been a rough last little bit. It's gonna be tough. We believe in talking about mental health, so I figured I would come on this morning. As you know, kids and cubs, things have been tough around here for the better part of a full year. And I currently have 4 people in my life who I love very, 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 very much, who are not going through good times. It's been hard feeling, it's been hard getting certain needs that I have met over this past time. And apparently I have something that might be called caregiver's fatigue.
It's a thing. I do know of this.
Yeah.
It's real. And it can weigh on you.
Yeah. And I had to manage a lot this weekend. And last night, well, I pride myself on being someone who has control and mastery over myself. And last night, I lost my temper.
You're only human.
I lost my temper ugly. So yelling, screaming, door slamming.
Right.
Words said that I promised I would never, ever, 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 ever say. Feeling awful and terrible about it, of course. 15 to 20 minutes later, when I realized what I had done, then bawling and wailing and crying on the floor, and a lot of self-flagellation. So, it might not be my best show as a presenter.
If you need to sit it out, You can. I can run it from here if you need to sit this one out. We all need to take a day of self-care. If you need to do that, go ahead, sir. I can run it. I can run the show. I've done it before. You've done it before. Whenever one of us needs a day to recover from trauma or illness or whatever the case may be, I can totally run the show if you need to take that morning, day.
Thought I was gonna be able to do this. But here's what I'll do. I will try to start the show because maybe if we talk about other things, that will put my mind in another place because I do enjoy my time with you. And if I can't continue, I will definitely end it off, but I would like to try.
Okay.
Because I'm hoping that I will get something out of it. And thank you, Kids and Cubs, for the love there. But yeah, it's I guess everybody has their breaking point, and yesterday I snapped. And yeah, that's it's there's something I call the mirror test, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it's you yourself in a mirror, you know what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No matter what story you tell, or how you twist or turn it to make yourself the hero or make it not look so bad, or you know what you did, right? So yeah, I hold myself to a very high standard. I have the luxury of holding myself to a very high standard. Because, I'm blessed. But yeah, I failed at that yesterday. I did not have the capacity.
That's why they put erasers on pencils, so we can fix our mistakes.
So
we all make them.
So yeah, I have I've already started apologizing to men's, but I have a lot more to do. Yeah, and of course, I think it's obvious I lost my temper with my beaver sweetie, of course, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's always how it happens, right? With the person you love the most, because they're the one that happens to be closest when it happens. All right. In the news, there is a lot of things that have happened. Weird things. Lots of weird changes in the world. If we're not only talking about Canada, in the United States, public servants got some homework over the course of the weekend, being asked to justify their jobs. Write me 5 things you did this week, as if the person that's going to look there will be able to figure out and gauge why that's important, why that matters. Right? It's an exercise in intimidation.
It's foolish. It's foolish because as anybody has worked in any job knows, some days you're insanely busy, some days you're not. And here's the thing. If you're just a cog in the machine and there's no work for you, it is incumbent upon your management to provide you with work. And if they don't give you the work, what can you do? It's not your fault if they're not providing you with work. If you've finished all the tasks they've provided you, and then you sit there going, okay, guys, I'm done this. What else can I do? And you don't give me anything. That's not my problem. That's a management problem. Because there's always work to be done. And if they're not handing it off to you, well, that's a management problem. So what Elon is trying to do is fire every single person in the federal government, it seems. I mean, they fired all the people who run the nuclear codes and realized, oh, that's a bad idea. Maybe we should try and hire some of them back. They fired all the generals on Friday night.
Not all.
Well, no. Some of the bigger ones, I should say. Not everybody, but yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, don't. Oh, you're going to love this.
Oh.
Yes. Remember when, did you ever watch Sesame Street, Mr. Grizzly?
When I was a child, of course.
Okay. Remember they had this thing where they put like 4 things in 4 boxes, right? And 3 were similar, but one was different.
Is not like the other.
Right. So when they did the purge on that Friday, it was a situation of that. There's a picture going around on the web, and I'm looking for it right now. Hopefully I can find it, where there are 8 people in the picture. There were 2 of the 8 who got fired. And when you look at them, you could be singing the song. 2 of these things are not like the others. 6 of these things are kind of the same. But 2 of these things are not like the others. Can you guess which one before my song is done? Before my song is done. And Mr. Grizzly, I finally did just find it. It will be the second thing in the email that I'm just sending right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mr. Grizzly often talks about, they want Gilead. And that Gilead is not a how-to manual. The Handspit Tale's not a how-to manual. Before Gilead, though, you got to go through that lovely documentary called The Purge.
Mm-hmm.
When those films came out, I said, why are you even making this as a film? Because this is where we're going. So yeah, I've got 2 clips for you. One image and then a clip that I saw this morning just before the show and really disturbed me. So the second one is the image.
So there's the image.
Can you guess which ones?
Only 2 people were fired from the Joint Chiefs of Staff today. Can you guess which 2?
Do 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 do. Answer your answers in the chat, kids. Do 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 do. Boom. Ba do 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 do. Boop. Okay, kids and cubs. Let's see. What did you answer? Kid Sussy go, I refuse to watch those movies. Same here. Well, I think right? The guy, bottom left.
Oh, here, I'll put that back on the screen so you can see it.
Just a second. 40-year career. No reason, really. And then the lady was the first head of the Navy, female head of the Navy. She's gone.
Yeah.
The black man and the woman.
Gilead.
Everybody else is a white man. Just happened to be those 2 that had to go.
Yeah.
And then the video clip on top. Things are happening in the United States, right? People are getting mad. You've probably all seen the clips of the town halls where the Republicans are showing up and they're trying to just like talking point their way through it, and people are going, no. Well, these are their own voters that are showing up at these things. But look what happens at this one.
Is this your deputy? No, don't fucking touch us. Is he a deputy? These are deputies. Who the fuck are these men?
Hey!
And they're cheering it on.
It's too bad that we have some 150-year-old Social Security recipients. We know that government has been mismanaging money for decades. And we want us to get up there now.
Who the fuck are these guys? Show your badge!
cooperate, it'll be 100 times better.
Yeah, that's what they say to rape victims, you fucking piece of shit. You refuse to identify yourself.
So that's what's going on. And recently I saw a movie called A Man Named Otto.
Yeah.
Trigger warning here for suicide. But in the movie, there's a scene where somebody is attempting to commit suicide. And then someone goes and saves him. And everybody's there going, oh my God, somebody do something. They all take their cameras, they're all filming like this. But none of them go
Jump
up
in to help out.
help.
Yeah.
Until this auto guy just sort of looks and says, well, come fuck on. And he goes and he helps.
Yes.
All these people, all these cameras, all this yelling, none of them swarm him. There are more of you than there are them.
Yeah.
Don't somebody film it, yes. But you don't need the full 1,000 people in the room to film it. Do something. If this happens where you are, do something. Don't just film and yell. Do something.
Well, it's in the immortal words of Karl Popper, unlimited tolerance must lead to the disappearance of tolerance. If we extend unlimited tolerance even to those who are intolerant, if we are not prepared to defend a tolerant society against the onslaught of the intolerant, then the tolerant will be destroyed, and tolerance with them. You cannot sit idly by and let this happen. You can't. We are watching democracy be destroyed in the United States of America in real time, right in front of us, right now. Just like Adolf Hitler did in 1933 in Germany. Hitler did it in 53 days. Trump is trying to break that record.
Don't just stand there and say, stop doing that. You stop it from being done.
They didn't do anything in 1930s Germany either. First they came for the trade unionists, and I wasn't a trade unionist, so I didn't speak up. You know how that poem ends.
Yeah. And then in other weird and twisted type stuff that I happened to pick up over the course of the weekend, it would appear that Mr. Elon Musk's personal security detail has been deputized by the U.S. Marshal Service. So whenever Elon Musk is in the Oval Office with Donald Trump, there will be the U.S. Security Service providing detail to the president, and Musk's personal private security detail loyal to him, both armed to the teeth, in the same room, at the same time. What could go wrong?
Well, I think what this man has to say sums it up. And this sums it up, right? Let me put this as delicately as possible so as to not get suspended from social media. In order to save this country, those of us who disagree with this fascist takeover of the United States will have to do some serious shit that is way outside of our comfort zone. I'll just leave it at that. Nobody there did anything to help that woman. They all filmed it. They yelled, they verbally intervened, but nobody got physical. And I understand it can be frightening to put yourself into harm's way, but I'm a firm believer of when you see something, say something, or do something, I would have not allowed that to happen. Anybody who knows me knows I would have intervened. Said, show me a badge. Why are you doing this? This woman asked a question. She's allowed to ask a question. Do you not believe in democracy? Is the republic completely gone? Are you a jackbooted thug? Why are you doing this to her? And I would get in their face about it, and I would physically intervene if need be. In that case, need be. But that's me. I don't expect everybody to react like that.
This is it's happening so damn fast.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And people are standing by and watching.
Now, people are also noticing and not liking it. You know how we feel about polls, right?
Hmm.
But polls started in 1953, thanks to Mr. Gallup.
Hmm.
That's why you keep on hearing the Gallup poll. And that's that guy. He's an actual person. In the history of public polling, all of it, since day one, 1953, no president of the United States has been less popular than this one at this point in their mandate.
Hmm.
Record lows. He is sending tweets going, record polling results. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, no, they're the lowest numbers ever.
Right?
The lowest numbers ever.
Lowest numbers since the history.
Of polling.
The history of polling. Best numbers ever. Thank you, everyone. Because, of course, kids and cubs, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Love is war, etc., etc., etc. Worst poll numbers in polling history. His best numbers ever. Nuclear grade coping. Plus, it appears, and it seems obvious to everyone, that we have someone playing president on TV. He's been on a golf course, according to Rachel Maddow, for 10 of the 31 days so far at the time of the show. Also got spun around the track at Daytona 500 and bad trip to the Super Bowl. Decided to pass on that hockey final, though, didn't he? Guess he wasn't sure they were going to win, so he didn't want to be somewhere where he couldn't say, I won after. But even the Super Bowl thing didn't work because turns out, found out that the Philadelphia Eagles politely declined the invitation
Again.
to celebrate at the White House.
Again. He's going to keep asking them. They're going to keep saying, go to hell. It's not happening.
Yeah. So, you got some guy having access to everybody's social security numbers, firing past. They fired everybody that was in the probationary period. So if you started, this is for you. If there's any younger people listening to us, 20 to 35-ish, in the United States, the conservatives, they mass fired everybody in the public service who was in the probationary period, which means they had fewer than 2 years within the public service. Most of those people would have been people that have recently graduated and are starting their careers. There'll be some older people that maybe decided to transition from private to public and that type of stuff, and that they're new. But for the most part, you all voted for him. And in the first month, he came for a whole lot of your jobs. Don't care what you do. Don't care what your value is. Well, you've been here less than 2 years. Oh, you're still probation. I could fire you. Gone. That was all the thought and care put into it. Do you think it's going to be any different up here? Fortunately, according to the polling we've been seeing, young men, 20 to 35, have suddenly turned away from Pierre all of a sudden. At least in that one poll. Hopefully that's true all the way through. But he didn't lower the price of eggs. They're close to $13 a carton now. It's like liquid gold. And, it takes, for most cakes, it takes eggs. And I don't know, man, a nation that can't afford cake there's probably a nation that's going to protest.
You think?
People like cake. Cake makes us feel good when we do bad things. Oh man. So cake makes us feel bad when we're lonely, when we're sad. Cake helps us celebrate. Cake's very important. Bread also needs eggs. So does pasta. Right? Anything that you cook that requires eggs is either suddenly very expensive or off the menu. That's a lot of things. Eggs are in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
You kind of notice that. It appears that he is getting some pushback, of course, in the courts, but I mean, we know the courts eventually will do what they do. It just depends how much the 6 justices on the Supreme Court decide they're going to give away and what they want to keep for themselves. And then, of course, well, since Trump thinks he's king, I'm sure that if the 2 of those 8 military people that happen to be selected totally at random for being firing, I'm sure there's at least 1 or 2 of those among the 6 conservative appointed Supreme Court justices too, right? Clarence and Amy?
How much you want to bet that they're going to say, well, they were DEI hires? Yes, they were DEI hires. It took them, 30 years to ascend to that position through DEI?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break.
Yeah. It's Clarence Thomas, Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
On the other photo, where there are 9 of you, the 6 of you that were appointed by Republicans, you're the 2 in that song. And if Donald Trump doesn't think that he's bound by anything, I mean, clearly they're destroying the notion of any co-equal branches by just canceling departments by fiat. Departments that were created by an act of Congress that can only be taken apart by an act of Congress, but they're just doing it by fiat. And it seems that a certain amount of Congress is quite happy to surrender their power. They actually want a king. They like having direction. They love having direction. It takes all kinds to make a world, I guess. But, I don't mind a little guidance, but I would like to direct my own movie. Thank you. When it comes to my life, I'm sure most of us would like to direct the movie, the own movies of our lives. So, there's a lot of stuff, weird stuff. There are some people predicting that with all these decisions, because there's so many and they're so unpopular and they're hitting people really hard and fast. The other one that they did, apparently they fired everybody at the National Park Service, not realizing how many people actually love their national parks in the United States. In fact, it's the government department that is actually the most loved by everyone. And since they fired everyone, well, I guess there's no camping at Yellowstone. Well, and people got real mad at that, so they turned around and they went, "Oh no, not them. We didn't mean firing them." So that's what they're doing, is that they're firing everybody, and then people are getting mad and pushing back, and then they're realizing, "Oh, maybe not them." So maybe the Department of Efficiency, because the most efficient thing is to do the right thing the right way the first time, so you only have to do it once. Maybe you want to actually spend more time figuring out what it is that people do before you fire them.
Well,
Hence, maybe that email, tell me 5 things you did that week, because 5 things that someone did in that week is going to let you know the entirety of their job and why it is that essential cog in that place in the public service, that if you take it out, it's like the Jenga tower, it might. But you need to have an appreciation. First of all, you have to have an appreciation that the thing that's done actually serves anybody. And then you'd have to even appreciate that something, because, if you're the world's richest man, for something to impress you, I guess it would have to be way more important than making sure that the sewers don't clog up or something.
Well, federal agencies have told workers to pause on the reply to the Musk threat.
Yeah.
DOGE directive didn't address legal and pragmatic complexities, and Elon Musk doesn't have any direct power to fire federal employees.
Hello, FBI. Hello, Secret Service. Hello, Diplomatic Corps. Please write and send to this public email 5 things that you've done last week. Because that's not a security risk.
Mm-hmm.
But the Department of Efficiency, right? So it seems that even Republicans that voted for Trump are noticing this stuff and go, no, whoa, we didn't mean that. Well, you may not have meant that, but he did tell you that. So I don't know if you were after the first 4 years of Trump and then the 4 years in between where he kept running his mouth, even though he kept on telling everyone he was still president, but he wasn't. I don't know if all that time you didn't yet catch on, or you still believed after all that time, oh, well, that's just stuff he says. Because he says a lot of stuff, yes, but he also does a lot of stuff. He never did build that wall, but he did separate those children from those families, though, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did.
Never really got Mexico to pay for anything, really. But he sure did try to put that Muslim ban in effect, didn't he? He didn't actually bring all those factory jobs to Wisconsin or Oklahoma or wherever it is he said he was going to. But he did actually kick the trans people out of the military, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time.
He's just been burning things to the ground. He's not actually been building anything.
Yeah. And that was the first time. And now he doesn't need your votes anymore.
No, because he's a king, remember? According to the Supreme Court, anyway. They've given him the powers of a king, and he wants to be the king. He's called himself the king. He thinks he's a king.
And if you have seen the visuals from CPAC, now there's that the third term project, Trump 2028, with a image of Caesar.
Yeah.
Again, they didn't read the book.
These are
David and Goliath, Caesar.
They're dangerous, but they're not very smart. They've never learned from history. They pick the parts of history they like, but leave out the parts that are important. Like Caesar, well,
ruled everything.
He got,
But he ruled everything for a while. Yes, he was a big guy for a while. He was the big cheese. But what?
They got a little stabby on him. Beware the Ides of March.
Yeah. What's next month?
March. March
interesting
1st is
symbol.
Saturday.
Interesting choice of symbolism at an interesting time. I would say.
Thought, that's what occurred to me. I'm like, do they know?
We know that CPAC is not averse to symbolism. Remember the way that the stage was built a couple of years ago?
Yeah, the rune, the odal rune.
We know that there's some people that get off on like embedding that type of symbolism and stuff. Oh, they don't know what I did. As they tweet.
Well, Steve Bannon gave a Nazi salute, which is of no surprise to anyone.
Look at my face.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he did. Right. Freak. So that's US weird. Then global weird, of course, is yesterday there were elections in Germany. And while we are not, at least that we know of, are not concerned with Germany devolving into a full fascist state, because it would appear that all the parties, even the right-wing parties, have expressly pledged that there was absolutely no way that they would work with the Alternative for Deutschland, AfD. This is still concerning.
Well, they got 19%, which is...
they did better than that.
They doubled.
They did better than that, too. The CDU won. It's the Conservative Party. It's led by Friedrich Mertz, and they picked up 28.5% of the vote and 208 seats of the 630 seat Bundestag. But the AfD came in second with 20.8% of the votes and 152.
Last number I saw was 19. They were still counting.
Yeah. Olaf Scholz, the current chancellor, he came in third with 16.41% and 120 seats. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there were other parties, but let's see. There are 1, 2, 3 other parties in the Bundestag with seats. So there would be the Grüne Party, the Die Linke, and the SSW. And they have 85, 64, and 1 seat, respectively. So if one suspects that the CDU and the SPD will work together again, that brings them to 328, and that would be enough between them two. And if it's if the CDU doesn't want to work with the SPD but works with Grün and Die Linke together, that would still be enough. But maybe not one of them on their own. He would need the other two.
Mm-hmm. So
either the SPD or both of the other two. They say it's probably going to take a couple of weeks. Olaf Scholz, the current chancellor, seems to have been expressing in the press confidence that he will remain chancellor after this. I don't know if that's just the typical political wish casting that is done, right? It's like when you see the polls and the parties in second place in the election, by 27% 7 days before election day, and it's like, I'm feeling momentum. Any day now. It's like, I'm still competing to win. It's like, okay. It's like, we know you're not, but okay, but you got to say it, right? Because you can't turn around. Well, we got to go shot before the vote, because then, you open up the attack. Well, why did you give up before? Right. So you get laughed at for faking it, but it's like, what's your alternative? Right. So I don't know if it's that type of thing, or whether or not there had been some pre-discussions between the SPD and the CDU/CSU to see if they would be working together. So we're going to have to wait for a couple of weeks. There were a couple of people, a couple of days before the vote, that seemed to be hinting that, maybe on certain bills we could be okay with some AfD support, because they are a conservative party. So, for example, for an immigration bill that they would like to pass, that certainly would not go as far as the AfD would like, but the AfD is saying, like, well, we'll do, a quarter of a loaf is better than a no loaf at all, right? It does put the party, like any immigration-related bill that the AfD supports instantly becomes toxic, right? So the whole question of whether or not on certain bills they would actually accept the AfD's support. They would work together with them, but would they accept the support? Now, of course, in a vote in Parliament, it's not like the Conservatives could say, yes, I do support Liberals. I do vote to support your bill. And Liberals can get up and say, Mr. Speaker, we don't want their support. Please cancel that vote. It doesn't work that way. But, right, in terms of the public clamoring, right, it's like, vote for the bill if you want, but it's like, don't try to represent it as you're with us. Just because we happen to vote on the same bill doesn't mean we're on the same team. But for that to happen, you can't be talking to that party about that bill while you're drafting or trying to get it through the process. If you want to do that, right? You can't both actually go consult with that party on the bill to have it passed, because you don't want the support of the other parties because they don't want to support that immigration thing, and then say you didn't work with them. You just have to write the bill and hope that they'll vote for it. Because any link of any kind, that's it, you're done. So it seems that the talk was about maybe, on those types of bills, maybe working together somewhat. And it was like, there was like a big no, or like 9. So, but again, no matter how strong the resolve, there's always one or two that are willing, hey, but sometimes we got to be practical. It's like, no. If you're not working with the enemy, you're not working with the enemy. No exceptions. So the world waits to see what happens in Germany.
Yeah.
And Germany has some special significance.
Well, you
Given
know
history.
how Germany also staunchly says never again, and the vast majority of her citizenship mean it.
The protests were, if you've seen the clips, by
Massive.
the Brandenburg Gate, all you could, like, from way up, and just not you couldn't see pavement. It's all heads. All heads. Those who are opposed to this, let's put it this way, this AFD thing, those who like it a hell of a lot, too much, very disturbingly so. But those who don't like it are prepared to get loud. And that matters in these times. Yeah, it's a big deal. So let's read a little bit about it, because this is actually one big piece of international news that will probably be coming back again and again here. So
I had a special request for you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Special request because we need to. I don't know what the terminology would be to apply to this, but something that will probably put a smile on your face and cheer you up. I have something here, a gift for you from Cassie Lake.
Oh.
It's your curling apron.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that is perfect.
Yeah, so it was Mademoiselle Fox who reached out to me and said, could you show that to him, because I think it would help cheer him up a little bit after having such a rough day. So I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll show you that. That'll probably put a smile on your face. Right?
Thank you. Oh, you're so good to me. Thank you so much.
So I'll fold it up, see if I can get it folded up as it was properly, put it back in its proper its carrying pouch. There's a card with it. I'm not going to read it because it's addressed to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There
you go, sir.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mademoiselle Fox. It did brighten my day.
I figured it would. I'll be right back.
Thanks. Thank you. Oh, God, it's lovely. I can't wait to wear it. Especially, it's really cool. Hey, I'm actually going to have a chance to wear it at the end of March at the curling club, because the men's league that I play in, every team, since we play like from about like 9 a.m. till about 1:30 in the afternoon, because there's three draws, we serve a lunch, and every week one team prepares a different lunch, and we haven't served ours yet. We're serving ours on March 27th. So when we're serving lunch that day, I'm going to have my curling apron at the curling club as I'm in the kitchen making and serving lunch. It's going to rock. Oh, I did not intend that as a pun, but it works. So just a little quickly here to get some additional information. This is from The Guardian. And Germany elections live. Okay, so this is from their thing. Olaf Scholz says result is bitter after the Conservatives win, and Musk, of course, congratulates far right for the surge. Merz welcomed the election result and said the CDU-CSU, so Friedrich Merz, who will probably be the new leader of Germany as a result of this, clearly have the mandate to govern. He then listed 3 major issues he sees as priorities for his government. First, he mentioned foreign and security policy as, quote, especially after the statements we heard from Washington last week, it is clear that we Europeans must be able to act very quickly. He says this issue has absolute priority in the coming weeks. Second, he talks about migration with, quote, proposals on the table, as he expresses hopes that the SPD will work with him on this issue. Third, he talked about the economic situation in the country and insisted that insists that, quote, we must preserve industrial jobs in Germany. And then he also said that the AfD's result, quote, is the final warning signal to the political parties of the Democratic Center in Germany to find common ground. He hopes for constructive and good and speedy talks with the SPD with the intention of forming the new government by Easter. So Merz, who may be a conservative, but appears to see the writing on the wall, says, listen, I understand that I'm a conservative and that you may be more liberals, but if we center left and center right don't find a way to work together and make this work this time, the next election, neither of us may finish first or second. I believe he's seeing clearly. Whatever nations have this type of movement going on, who happen to avoid it in their upcoming or nearest election cycle, whoever's in power at that time and whoever's forming opposition that doesn't want that type of stuff really, 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 really have to work together and make things better and a noticeable improvement during the mandate that they have to try and quash whatever it is, because this type of movement, anger and whatnot does not exist without an undercurrent of people who legitimately have needs that are not being met, that should be being met. If you're a farmer out west and there keep on being new rules and new regulations, stuff like that, that just keep on making it less and less possible for you to make a living, and you start to get angry and you start voting against, and then, well, all the people I usually vote for, and I've been voting for all my life, are not doing it. Hear these people saying that they're actually going to smack some shit into them, straighten it up. Yeah, they got my... It's your job, well-functioning governments, to not let people get to that point. You need to be doing your job well enough that people don't get to that point. Whatever other games that you use some of your time playing that have nothing to do with helping us, you have to at least make sure that you've done the basics right and make sure that the people are at least satisfied to the point where they are not so frustrated that they are willing to vote for a David Parker, for example, or a Kevin O'Leary, for example. That's like the minimum you have to do. And some of you are not getting it done. Looking at you, Mr. Singh. Looking at you, Andrea Harvarth and Del Duca last time around. You got to get serious about the governance part. Peace, order, good governance. In order to have the peace, work on the order, and get back to providing damn good governance. Because what y'all doing, that's not it. The healthcare situation, that's not it. In Ontario, funding post-secondary to 30% when all the other provinces are funding it to 60%, that's not it. People that are studying their programs and all of a sudden they're 2 years in and their program disappears. That's not it. You got to get those things right. People want to eat. People want a warm place to sleep. People want a place to go when they're not feeling well. And that they can feel better when they get out. They want a place to get educated. Safe roads to drive and walk on. Food that they can eat that doesn't make them sick. Water they can drink that doesn't make them sick. Toilets that actually flush. Indoor plumbing that works. Come on, man. Do the basics.
You mentioned Kevin O'Leary a moment ago. Did you see what he did this weekend?
That's the other thing. The other weirdness.
Well, this is what he did.
So now Trump should actually bring down the prime minister in waiting, a guy named Pierre Poilievre. He is he's much more in sync with Trump. He's going to lift the ban on pipelines, eradicate no more carbon tax, and investing back in Canada. People want to invest there. He should go down to Mar-a-Lago now. He's got to bring down the actual in-waiting prime minister who will be there maybe. He'll be dealing with a guy named Pierre Poilievre who will get majority mandate. I think Trump should invite him down to Mar-a-Lago now. I don't know what the protocol and all that is, but he'll be dealing with Pierre. He might as well.
Who's much more ideologically aligned with Trump.
Well, here's what Poilievre has already said. I'm going to lift the ban on pipelines. I'm going to kill the carbon tax to be competitive with Texas. And I'm going to open all kinds of investment in Canada.
Somebody being competitive with Texas is Trump's kind of guy? Really, Kevin? Really, Kevin? There was a TV show for a while that Kevin can go fuck himself. Yeah. I wonder if he ever guest starred on it.
He's not nearly as smart as he would like to have you think.
Oh my God, what a dumbass. Yes, because that's what Trump loves, competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what a dumbass. All right. That was more weird stuff. Other weird stuff. The CDC this weekend decided that it was going to air a special that seemed to be entertaining the idea of the 51st state. And not sort of like, hey, Canada, call in to the show for all of us to discuss why the fuck this is not a thing and this is not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was more like, hey, if this, let's just entertain this as an academic exercise, kind of like this, what could possibly be the benefits of, and it's like, how about no? Like, how about no? And a lot of people really let their feelings know about this. And this is at a weird time because the CBC just recently released what it is that they see their plan as being for the future. It got a little bit of press and we haven't touched on it yet, but we hope to get it to you. And Pascal Saint-Onge, who is the minister, by the way, has also announced that she will not be running in the next election. So she's not the one who would be seeing it through if it happens. But as the CBC is trying to position itself to where it will go for the future and releasing that, it also at the same time, she says that they're going to put out this show. And the way that they advertised it originally was this Sunday. We want to know what Canada as the 51st state means to you. With Ian Hanno-Mansting will co-host a special episode of Cross Country Checkup with American radio journalist Jenny Hobson. So it's like, what does it mean to you? That's a phrasing of the question that seems to be inviting. Well, it means so much. So a lot of people were like, can you hear yourself? For the love of God, why are you normalizing fascism and Trump's outrageous attack on Canada's sovereignty? There might be some merit in the enemy's expansionist aggression against us. Let's ponder. Find a moral compass somehow, somewhere. That was Lindsey Brown.
Mm.
Stop normalizing fascism. I mean, it's just, for the love of God, take a deep breath, drink a glass of water, click the link, and read the show teaser. And for me, I am watching this, and I'm thinking, why the hell are you even entertaining this topic? Stop it.
I
Just
couldn't listen to it. I'm going to listen to it maybe later today. But yesterday I was in a fairly good mood, and I didn't need to be knocked off that perch of happiness, so I chose not to listen. I'll listen to it later today, though.
yeah. Now they came in and they were trying to explain it, and it didn't go well for them as well. Now, I will give credit to Ian Hanomansing in that he did try to address it, but I don't know why. It just didn't. It really did not go well at all, and it didn't come. If he had a certain intent, I'm guessing it did not come across as he had expected, and it caused a lady named Rosalind Roy, who's a former journalist, to write something that was absolutely phenomenal. And I asked her if she would be a guest on our show. She said yes, and we're going to try and bring her in. But she explained really well what the problem with this is. Because the CBC, right, it's special.
Yes.
One, we own it.
Correct.
You had a lot of people going like, boycott the CBC. No. Don't boycott the CBC. It's ours. Right? That doesn't serve us.
No.
But it might be time for shareholders' revolt, though.
Yes.
As the
I saw
shareholders.
recently where the incoming CEO suggested getting rid of ads altogether on CBC television, which I thought was okay. I understand why you want to do that, because then if there's no ads, they can say whatever they want, and they don't have to massage anything, And I agree with that statement, except how are they going to generate revenue? Is it solely on the backs of the taxpayer? I mean, you've already got people losing their shit as it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that'll be a good thing.
So Hannah Manson came out with, there have been a few times when Checkup, cross-country Checkup, has been hammered on social media for a program we haven't done yet. I'm in a show meeting right now. The gap between what's being posted and what we're actually planning is enormous. Our regular listeners should expect the same care we use for every show. So in other words, calm down, people, calm down, people. It's like, we're not this thing that you think that we're doing. That's not the plan, the intent of our show. Okay. I saw that. I was like, no, just no. Don't even start with that. The CBC has a mandate and Canadians pay for it.
Correct.
Canadians are not paying to listen to any talk about us being anything other than Canadian, especially on the CB frickin' C. Like, come on, we don't come to the CBC for that. So don't start with that. We're not playing that. So it seems that they heard, because by the time the show went on, and I haven't had a chance to watch all of it, but I did watch, I think I got like the first half hour. The question became not what does the 51st state mean to you, but what do you think of Trump's comments about Canada becoming the 51st state? Okay. That's a different question. Still, as far as I'm concerned, don't ask it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it still opens the door for people to come up and say, yeah, I love it. Now, of course, free exchange of ideas. I love it. There's like 5 people that come on the show and say, I love it. There's like 60 calls that say, I can't stand it. It's the ratio and all kind of stuff. Yes, you get the bell. Yeah. But there are the reason that hate speech laws exist is because it has been deemed that there is certain speech that contributes absolutely nothing of value in any way, shape, or form to the public discourse, and is so terrible that it's actually corrosive to it.
Mhm.
So therefore, we do not allow it. A lot of people feel this way about this subject. It is so corrosive that even in this type of context, creating an opportunity for people to say, hey, I think it was a great idea, and having other people listen to it and be exposed to arguments is just that kind of talk should not be happening. If you are Canadian, you are proud of Canadian, the conversation, like, hey, let's talk about being in 51st state. How about we not? Next. And that should be the entirety of the conversation about it. However, as I'm watching it, and there's the first time I thought, okay, maybe it was a slip up, but the second time, clearly this is what they believe. Ian Hanamansing made a point of saying that they did hear the public and they did respond by essentially changing the question. He said they did it because the original question might have been misinterpreted by people.
Yes.
Yes. It's the people who misinterpreted the question, because it couldn't possibly be you guys that misformulated it. Right? CBC. We misinterpreted the question. Okay. That's a trip. Maybe I was just particularly sensitive last night when I watched it.
Mm.
I was particularly sensitive last night when I watched it. But maybe, but it's like, what? Don't you put this on me? You're the guys that decided to put this show on the road in the first place.
Correct.
Wow. So yes. And then also in the world of weird, Mr. Grizzly, another image for you. It would seem that the good folks at Google, who have decided that they are indulging IQ 47 south of us by when you go on maps and you look at what everybody else calls the Gulf of Mexico, and it actually says the Gulf of America. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Google Maps program, or Google programmed that such that it only happens in the United States, if you're reading from an ISP. But it seems that something has been happening to our national parks in Canada on Google.
Yeah, it says Mount Robson Park, State Park in British Columbia. Cultus Lake Provincial Park, State Park in Cultus Lake. Jewel Lake Provincial Park, State Park. Gilpin Grasslands, State Park. Christina Lake Provincial Park, State Park. Well, what's going on there? Was it always like that and we never noticed before? I don't know.
It seems to have been very quietly changed if it wasn't always like that. And if I'm not, and I just went to look out of curiosity, I'm looking at the Google Maps. If you're in Canada, it says Gulf of Mexico in parentheses, Gulf of America.
Correct.
So they're still entertaining him. So again, I don't know if this is a thing. Hey, Google guys, just go and call all the state parks, all their national parks, state parks. Just a little programming change up there in Canada. Just mess with them.
Well, this person says they did a Google search and seen lots of chatter about this. Some are saying that there's no option to list as provincial and the default is set to state. But there is a park setting, which some have now, and that they can be changed to park instead of state. But dang. So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Could be.
I don't know.
Like I said, don't know if it was always there, but again,
I've never noticed it before. I probably
even if it was always there, given the current context, now color and texture,
yeah,
appear.
So the plan's
Finally.
been in the works for a long time is what we're saying.
Maybe. It started with them by changing province to state on search engine functions. And then probably the last of the weird, which happened soon after we left the show on Friday. But the Liberals,
Yeah, we haven't even
by the way,
addressed the headline yet.
yes, it's this weekend in weird.
Mhm.
The Liberals finally punted Ruby Dhalla from the leadership race.
She's not the only one who got booted either. She's
Yes,
not the only one. Yeah.
well, from the Liberal race, the federal Liberal race, but yes, in the provincial Liberal race, there is a candidate from Oshawa, which, to be totally honest, I do not know what the entire story is, but all I know is that they've been yelling about a candidate from Oshawa for the longest time, and it seems that candidate should have been gone a long time ago, and they finally decided to get around to it. But I'm not up on what the issue with this candidate is, but I have a feeling it's a doozy.
Well, I have the info here. Just bear with me for a sec while I find it. If you want to carry on, I'll dig it up and we can address it.
Okay. So everything about the Ruby Dhalla thing was weird because it would seem that at first there was a vote, and even though the results of the vote were not announced officially, like on any party letterhead or something, there was somebody, I guess, on the record, but under condition of non-anonymity, one or two people that let it out that she had in fact been disqualified, and she was like, really? Because nobody's told me yet. Again, whether or not that's true. But at some point later on, she gave interviews and saying that, she was not informed personally. I find that hard to believe. Usually these types of things, you get a phone call before, like it might be 5 seconds before the thing goes up, but you get a phone call. Say, sorry, you've been disqualified. I mean, she's appealing, so I'm sure somebody had to tell her that she had this was a decision that came with the opportunity to appeal. So I assume that she had some communication with someone. But yes, bounced over several violations that are being claimed. Now, if we're being completely honest, this is an internal party affair, and there is no political parties are private enterprises, and they have no obligation legally under any law, whatnot, to report back to the public as to why, how, all that type of stuff. They eliminate a candidate. They can just because we want to. And that's all there is to it. Now, in a democratic process, you probably want to aim for more transparency. But this is according to Catherine Tunney and David Cochrane of CBC News. A Liberal Party of Canada committee voted unanimously, ouch, on Friday to disqualify former MP Ruby Dhalla from the race to be the next leader. Assam Ishmael, the party's national director, said in a statement that the Liberal Leadership Vote Committee determined she made 10 violations. That's a lot of work in a short period of time. Some involving the party's leadership and expense rules. Quote, the decision followed an extensive process and review, including interviews, questionnaires, and an opportunity for Dhalla to directly address the committees, he said. Quote, the Leadership Vote Committee determined that the violations were extremely serious. The statement goes on to say the party is concerned Dhalla may have violated the Canada Elections Act as well as certain other election finance matters, non-disclosure of material facts, and inaccurate financial reporting. The official statement came after CBC News first broke the details of the vote earlier Friday afternoon. A source speaking on the condition they had not been named said Dhalla was also accused of failing to disclose the involvement of a non-Canadian citizen in her campaign, which the party alleges would amount to foreign interference if it happened during an election period. Dhalla learned about her official disqualification live on television. Allegedly. After the initial story went up, citing a source, Dhalla went live on CBC's Power Politics to defend herself. Just as the segment began, the Liberal Party sent out official word. Dhalla seemed shocked as host David Cochrane read it out loud to her. It's very alarming and very shocking, she said from one of her 7 faces. I'm sorry. Sorry. Inside voice. I think it speaks to the state of the Liberal Party of Canada that a candidate who is running to become leader of the party and running to be Prime Minister of our country is finding out she is being disqualified on air from an email that the media outlet that she is interviewing with has received. Dhalla called the allegations against her fabricated, fictitious, and fake, meant to, quote, complete Mark Carney's coronation as leader because sabotage playbook when the party determines that you are not wanted anymore. Start going around talking about the candidate everybody suspects to become the leader as a coronation or maybe even a blue-eyed devil. Right, Ruby? Quote, they did not want anyone challenging the frontrunner, the blue-eyed boy. Mark Carney. Wasn't she the one that was commenting about her being eliminated from the race because maybe because she was a person of Indian heritage and the daughter of an immigrant? Interesting that she's focusing on blue eyes. I just saying. I will not allow the Liberal Party of Canada or anyone for that matter to smear my name or smear the name of thousands of volunteers in our campaign. They're not smearing the names of thousands of volunteers in your campaign. And again, it would seem that if there are rules and you did not follow them and then you would get ejected, didn't you smear your own name? Also, I remember last time you got caught in this type of stuff, you said you were quitting to clear your name, but you swore up and down that you were innocent, and there was no clear name. In fact, you settled, and now you're saying that you're completely innocent. And well, put out the proof, Ruby. If you were so hard done by, just put all the documents on the table and show us how innocent and so what a miscarriage of justice. If this truly is a miscarriage of justice in this way, I mean, we're liberals.
Mm-hmm.
If you were indeed eliminated because you are a person of Indian heritage or daughter of an immigrant or a woman, we're not okay with that. We'll go to bat for you. Put it out there. Otherwise, sabotage playbook, as you're being booted out of the party for not respecting the rules, accuse the party of racism and sexism and all the other isms on the way out. Because that's what a CPC plant would do, wouldn't they? Enter the race, run against the party, eventually get eliminated from it, as one would expect, and then complain about racism. The other thing Ruby Dhalla appeared to believe is that she was entitled to get her $350,000 back, to give it back to the donors, because when they just like she thought that she could get a translator for the debates, because again, when they all signed on to become candidates and read the rules and said $50,000 deposit by this time, refundable, $50,000 deposit by this time, after which nothing is refundable, then 125, then 125. She went through all 4 payments. She signed on that line saying that after the first 50,000, it was not refundable. But now that she's kicked out, she still wants to be refunded.
Sign the contract, but wants to break the contract. Who do we know that has recently done that? That she's in lockstep with?
It's unfair to all my donors. If they don't, then maybe you shouldn't have fleeced them for the money.
Yeah. Not my problem.
Allegedly. It's not so much fleecing them for the money. Is maybe you should have made sure that the people donated to your campaign got what they paid for by actually running an honest campaign that you could actually see through to the end. That's probably more appropriately phrased. And that's on you. Those are your choices. Allegedly.
You know, it's funny. It's funny. What strikes me as crazy as in the headline, it says conservatives are losing their minds over this. And they are.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
losing their shit over
We are going to
this.
get there. Because listen, kids and cups, if you happen to be online and you would love to instantly, quickly populate your block lists, go to any tweet from Ruby Dhalla about this, and then just look at the comment section.
Mhm.
Now, remember, she raised about $100 and something thousand from 100 and something donors. There are way more than 130 blue checkmark accounts on Twitter losing their minds.
Oh, yeah.
Because nothing says I was not a CPC plant. Like Kirkland Lake bought BOUGHT/BOT farms. Coming out in support of you now that you've been kicked out. And people from the Conservative Party who allegedly hire these types of services, it might work better and be a little more believed if you don't have those pro Ruby messages tweeted from accounts that have apples next to their handles.
Yeah. I gotta show you one. I gotta show you one here. This one is hilarious. Whoever this person is at CTButt114.
CD butt.
CT butt. The comment from this person. This is pathetic. She wasn't enough of an insider and loyal to the dog shit hyper left policies. Wait, hyper left? Hyper left?
I know. I know.
The Liberal Party is definitely left leaning, but hyper left? If they were hyper left, ODSP would have been doubled a decade ago. Number one. Number two, we would have gotten rid of ODSP 20 years ago and had a UBI for everyone. Housing wouldn't be an issue, and we would have nationalized things like groceries so that we could bring them down. That would be hyper left. These people live in an imaginary world. So I just thought I'd just, the real reason she was disqualified, they scrubbed her social media and found she wasn't loyal enough to Trudeau and Carney. Disgusting. Not true. Not true. I just said, cry harder, and posted a story from, of all places, the National Post. And the National Post, well, that liberal rag. This is from the National Post. 2 Liberal leadership committees unanimously decided to disqualify former MP Ruby Dhalla in the race to become leader of the party on Friday, alleging that she breached no less than 10 violations of the rules of the race, including inaccurate financial reporting. The people are blaming Justin Trudeau for this, but listen to this. The party's national director, Assam Ismail, said in a statement that the decision followed an extensive process and review, including interviews, questionnaires, and an opportunity for Dhalla to directly address the concerns to the committee's members. After a thorough investigation, the Leadership Vote Committee and the Leadership Expense Committee, sitting jointly, unanimously determined that Dr. Dhalla was in violation of 10 of the national leadership rules, leadership vote rules, and leadership expense rules, Ismail said. The violations include concerns about alleged violations of the Canada Elections Act, certain other election finance matters, non-disclosure of material facts, and inaccurate financial reporting. He continued, adding that violations were extremely serious. Dhalla dismissed the allegations against her as baseless and claimed they were an attack on her ethnic origin. I will not allow my campaign to be tarred in baseless allegations of foreign interference because of my Indian heritage and being the daughter of an immigrant, she wrote on social media. These types of comments are a direct attack on all immigrants, which I will not allow. Her disqualification occurred just days after Dhalla successfully met the race's deadline to pay the full amount of $350,000 in donations to stay in the leadership race. It is also happening before the party is set to hold its debates in both official languages early next week. Dhalla asked for translation for the French debate, which was refused by the party before asking for a personal translator, but she said this week the party had not responded to that request. In a press release, Dhalla's team said the allegations were made to complete Mark Carney's coronation and that she was the only candidate running neck and neck with him in the polls. Okay, that's a complete fabrication. That's not even based in reality, that statement. It is evident that the Liberal Party did not want Ruby, the only candidate who could challenge Carney in the debates, win the race and become leader and Canada's next Prime Minister, the release said. Multiple polls have suggested that Mark Carney is by far the frontrunner in the leadership race. He has also led the race in fundraising, with a campaign data released by Elections Canada showing that Carney had raised $1.9 million as of February 9th. Dhalla came in last out of all candidates, raising $144,880. Dhalla said in a statement that the corruption and bias of the Liberal Party would not be forgotten. When the Prime Minister handpicked Mark Carney as his successor, we knew this would be an uphill battle, Dhalla said. But today proves this was never a fair race. It was a sham from the beginning. Dhalla, who served as a Liberal MP from 2004 to 2011, is no stranger to controversy. She was forced to resign as the Liberals' multiculturalism critic in 2009 because of allegations of mistreatment towards 2 caregivers she hired to take care of her aging mother. Dhalla has always claimed the allegations were false and unsubstituted?
Unsubstantiated.
No, it says unsubstituted.
Yeah.
I guess it's a typo on their part.
Yeah,
unsubstantiated.
See,
But
it finally happened to you.
but ended up paying a settlement to one of them for unpaid overtime. With Dhalla out of the Liberal leadership race, that means there are 4 contenders left: Mark Carney, Chrystia Freeland, Karina Gould, and Frank Baylis. National Post with additional reporting from the Canadian Press. So, there you go. I did put a link to that in the chat if anybody wants to read that later on. I just read it to you. It's in the record. It's on the record. And for everybody crying about how she dishes because she's a woman and a woman of color, that's not the case. She was booted because she broke the rules.
The only way she could have been booted for anything having to do with her race is if she is saying that these types of behaviors are things that are inextricably linked to people of her race and culture. I don't think that that's the flex she thought it was.
No.
Because it sounds to me like Ruby Dhalla is saying that, well, all my people cheat.
Well, the statement, I'm neck and neck with Mark Carney. There's no metric on earth that can back that up. Not a single one. She wasn't even close. So she's living in a fantasy world.
There's nothing about you being of Indian heritage that makes it such that you would choose to not comply with Elections Canada law. There's nothing about you being the daughter of an immigrant that makes it such that you would have someone on your campaign working for you who is not a Canadian citizen. That has nothing to do with your race, your culture, or the fact that you're a daughter of an immigrant. It has to do with your ethics and choices. If all that is alleged is what exactly transpired, because of course there is no public receipts. Because it's an internal party affair.
It's internal, exactly.
Now, for all of you who happened to be wondering about the plant thing, well, there's a lady on Twitter, I believe her name is Diane Ellison, who often goes back and looks for things and finds some things, and often finds things that are pretty interesting. And on this one, she found something really good. There have been 3 candidates so far in this Liberal race that have had some trouble. The first one happened to be Christy Clark, if you remember correctly.
I never did that.
Yes, I was never a conservative. Really? Because we can smell. We've smelled you the whole time, girl. But went out, lied, got caught, got booted. Everybody's wondering, like, why are you running for the leadership of the federal Liberals? You're not a Liberal.
Yeah.
I just sent you something, Mr. Goes like that. Then we had Mr. Aryashandra, candidate Liberal backbench MP since 2015, hasn't made a name for himself in any way that reached our attention in all of that time, except for one incident where there was a skirmish between him and another person who has ancestry from India, but different religious sects, in which he was the victim of whatever skirmish happened. But that's the only national news that I was aware of that he made. And then all of a sudden he pops out of nowhere and says, I'm going to run for this thing. And we don't need the monarchy and French, what's that? And we don't, let's pull out of the Commonwealth and all these weird things. And of course, well, I mean, people, you clearly do not subscribe to liberal values. You got to go. And then all the Pepperidge Farms, like, Chandran, you're the only real candidate. It's like, everybody's like, it's like, girl, you don't come and tell me you heard of him. The only way you would have heard of him is if you happen to be in his electoral district, because
Correct.
If I haven't heard of him, you haven't heard of him. All right. And then all of a sudden, Ruby Dhalla pops up.
Yeah. Out of nowhere.
And that's out of nowhere. And then she
Whack-a-mole.
said, now, interesting story, but it would appear that Christy Clark and Arya Chandra and Ruby Dhalla have something in common.
Yeah. They do have something in common. Did you know what it was?
I did not know until Diane showed it to me yesterday.
I saw that yesterday and I went, interesting. As Greg McEachern said, not quoted exactly, I'm not sure she is in the right party. This could help support his point. Ruby Dhalla had a conservative campaign manager who has a history with questionable candidates. Brian Bruguette clients, Christy Clark, Chandra Arya, Ruby Dhalla. Do you see any similarities? I do. They're all conservative plants. Brian Bruguette, my new LinkedIn profile, January 2025, first 2 weeks, campaign manager Christy Clark. January 2025, last 2 weeks, campaign manager Chandra Arya. Currently, Ruby Dhalla, campaign manager. Just another grifter with bad Botox. From President Obama to President Trump, the power of self-conviction, determination, and destiny. Trump needs a coffee. Canadians need to send the President of the U.S. a Tim Hortons double-double and homegrown Canadian maple syrup. Nikki Haley, a shining star, making us all proud. Smart move by the Republicans after Trump overdose. Real Donald Trump meets Indian partners, hails PM Modi's work. Canada's female Donald Trump ready to take on the president. Ruby Dhalla will deport every illegal immigrant living in Canada as prime minister. Dhalla is taking a different task, however, arguing that Canada needs to renew its participation in NATO.
Review, not renew. Now, all those things that Mr. Grizzly just read for people listening, those are all the various tweets and memes that she made based on segments of newspaper articles that were written about her. Now, in the 4 tweets, you will notice that she said, Nikki Haley, a shining star, making us all proud, smart move by the Republicans after Trump overdose. So she wasn't even loyal to him all the way through too, right? When she thought Nikki Haley was going to do it, she was riding her coattails. And then all of a sudden, Trump needs a coffee. I am the female Trump. I'm the Canadian Trump. But in 2016, Nikki Haley was the shining star.
Yeah.
After the Trump overdose. Okay. And then the last one, Mr. Grizzly? Or is that the last one?
Well, there is one more, but I don't know. I can't make any sense of it, to be honest with you.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll put it on the screen here.
So it's it's a whole bunch of different handles with blue check marks and whatnot, but you see all the red arrows pointing here to make Canada great again on one, followed by Fred Delory. Do you remember who Fred Delory is?
No, I don't remember him.
If you're watching Power and Politics, he's the guy that often shows up on the panel, fairly decent looking, red-headed guy. He previously served as the Director of Field Operations for Ontario Premier Doug Ford and the Director of Political Operations for former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Yeah. It seems that Fred DeLore is following some of these accounts. Dustin, followed by Fred DeLore, Canadian charter expert scholar, corporate compliance lawyer, Quebec disrespecter, to Valhalla or zero, no in between, Christian. Or following Beckley, go woke or go broke.
Yeah.
Or
Go
Tasty
broke or
BH.
go woke, go broke.
Yes, go woke, go broke. Sorry. Yeah. So Fred DeLore is following all these types of accounts. Ruby Dhalla is posting all the stuff that's very American-like and Trump-like. And all three candidates in this one liberal leadership race, at a time where we're talking about foreign interference and all that kind of stuff, the three that imploded all happen to have the exact same campaign manager. And for those who are wondering about Ryan Braguette, if I am not mistaken, I do believe that he actually did run as a candidate, potentially, for the Conservatives, if I remember correctly. But is managing campaigns. There we go. January 17th, 2024. Brian Braguette nominated in Vancouver Langara for the Conservative Party of British Columbia. John Rustad's party.
Mm-hmm.
He was managing the campaign of the three candidates for the Liberal Party of Canada leadership. All three got bounced. Well, two got bounced. One bounced herself. Right, Christy? Way to go. Thanks for doing the work for us. Should somebody be looking into this guy? Maybe?
You think?
Somebody's got his thumbs in a lot of pies at the same time. Fortunately, he didn't pick out any plums. He just got 3 lemons.
Well, so Ruby has filed an appeal. Apparently, appeal filed for the millions of Canadians who believe in democracy, free speech, and fair elections. On Friday, I fought for change, progressive policies, and for members who want to return the Liberal Party to the center, putting the power back in the hands of, I guess it would say, back in the hands of membership and not the establishment. I'm not giving up. So we scroll down here, and the first comment from Isis Wise: "Oh, honey, you left a trail of breadcrumbs a mile wide. Good luck with that." Ruby Dhalla was a right-wing op to siphon votes from Mark Carney, Tamara Leach, and Tamara Leach and General Hillier orchestrated a Twitter campaign to pull Liberal memberships for Dhalla.
Yes.
After Carney became leader, Conservatives planned to declare the process illegitimate, undermining his leadership. Yeah. Today is the last day to register, folks. We need about 250,000 people to join the Liberal Party and vote for Chandra Arya as leader. Tamara Leach did that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Chandra's out. And then if we scroll down a little further, she also had a certain so-called lawyer with over 99,000 followers that helped with that siphoning. Eva Chipiuk, convoy lawyer and the dumbest lawyer in the country. She is. I've seen her speak. She's not smart. Look, here's the thing. People think, oh, you're a lawyer. You must be smart. I know many lawyers who have told me some of the dumbest human beings on earth are lawyers.
Yep.
I've had surgeons tell me some of the dumbest people on earth are doctors, okay? You're able to study one thing and you're really good at that. Congratulations, good for you. They know nothing outside of their field of study. And Eva is not even a good lawyer. She's terrible.
She's terrible.
I know.
We all saw
I've seen
it.
her speak. She's bad. So listen to this, though. This is from Eva Chipiuk. Membership is free, but you cannot be a member of another federal party at the same time. I believe that parties imposing this rules undermines democracy.
That
So
you
you can
can't be a
belong to
member of
all
more than
parties?
two. No. He says you're allowed to be politically promiscuous and go from party to party, but you're not allowed to be a political bigamist.
Political parties and our elected officials should encourage Canadians to be as active as possible. Okay, I agree with that, including voting for leaders at the party level. Well, that's what the Liberal leadership is. Because with their first past the post system, this is our only opportunity to have a say about who may ultimately run the country. In this case, yes, because the Liberal Party is currently in power. So the next leader is Prime Minister. And if
By
you
convention.
join, yes, by convention, yes. If you join the Liberal Party and vote in the next Liberal leadership, you are directly voting for the next Prime Minister, only because the party is in power. The person assumes the position once the Prime Minister currently in power resigns. She says, given this, I'm going to revoke my other federal membership to register with the Liberal Party in good faith. I encourage others to do the same and to question party representatives and elected officials about why they restrict Canadians from fully participating in their civic responsibilities and undermining democracies by allowing membership in only one political party. See, here's the thing. All parties do that.
Right.
It's not just and she's trying to paint it and frame it like it's just the Liberals that do. No, all parties do it. You cannot be a conservative and a Liberal at the same time. Neither party wants you to be a member of another party. No party wants you to be a member of another party if you're a member of theirs.
I know. I was recently a member of the Conservative Party of Canada for 1 year.
Correct.
I know they didn't want me to be I know it's true because I had to not be a member of another party.
In order to become a member of that party.
Yes.
She's trying to frame it like it's just the Liberals doing
History started today.
Yes.
That's the wonderful thing when you're conservative. You always get to decide when history starts. Nothing ever happened before the time the Liberals did it. Never happened before. Forget. Just let the harponesia lull you to the nice conservative la la land, where everybody looks and thinks just like you. Okay. A bit more conservative weirdness. Mr. Grizzly. Oh, by the way, before we move to that one, just this one last one. Ruby Dhalla as well. Before she found out, she put this beam disqualified. The establishment in the Liberal Party clearly wants to hold on to power. Yeah. That's why political parties exist, to claim and hopefully retain power. That's their purpose. That's their raison d'être.
Tell us something
Ruby.
we don't know.
They could not handle the fact that I was the only obstacle to Mark Carney's coronation, both at the debate and on the ballot. I'm going to guess that the same dysmorphia that led to you making certain fashion choices is present in that comment. You see yourself way differently than as you are. Quote, I have just been informed by the Liberal Party Canada that I've been disqualified from the leadership race. This decision is both shocking and deeply disappointing, especially since it was leaked to the media. The allegations that the party have used against me are false and fabricated. The tactics used to remove me from this race only confirm what we already knew. Our message was resonating. We were winning, and the establishment felt threatened. Yes, because the only reason that someone would want you to not be in a race is because you were on the verge of winning it from the guy everybody else really wanted to win. That could be the only reason.
Yeah, the only reason at all. Yeah.
Yep. One day it was foreign interference. One day it was campaign violations. Or maybe one day you said it was foreign interference. And now we all know it's campaign violations. Right? One day it was foreign interference because you said it was. Because you said this had to do with racism. Turns out you just allegedly keep interesting ledgers. I will continue to stand up for Canadians and fight for Canada. And constitutionally, you're allowed to do that. Could you please do that in a little corner of the country alone by yourself? Please and thank you. I was like, actually, it's not shocking at all. The entire nation wondered how it is you were disqualified eons ago. The decision certainly isn't more disappointing than your lack of discernment in throwing your hat in, only to then not follow the rules, to then just claim victimhood. I mean, if we're talking about shocking and disappointing. You. Maybe. Speaking of shocking and disappointing, Ruby Dhalla. Wow. We're getting political performance art passing as serious candidacies. This should have been a production that we see on the stage of the National Arts Center. As a play, I would eat this up. This would be a good yarn. This is not acting school. This is it's real life.
No dress
I don't want a
rehearsal.
yarn. I want
real life.
authenticity. Is it real life? Because you're living in a fantasy. Girl, take the slip and slide. Come back to reality. Okay. Finally, in weird, Danielle Smith. There's a little clip I sent you, Mr. Grizzly. It seems that remember how Danielle Smith was going all around saying, "Hi, yeah, we really should all be Team Canada, but and I would really like to be on Team Canada if that means that I don't have to sacrifice anything, do anything, take any hits, and everybody else pulls all the weight for the entire team. If I can just sit here and you pull me, will I be dead weight? I'm happy to be on Team Canada, but otherwise I don't ask for anything from me."
It is disconcerting to hear.
That's how the egg farmers of Alberta is feeling after weekend comments from Alberta's premier on supply management.
I've asked my minister, RJ Sigurdsson, to start that conversation. I know it's a tough one because we've got a lot of supply managed here. We've got a lot of people who paid a lot of money for quota, and that's why we have to make sure that nobody is disadvantaged if we have to make more concessions.
Canada's supply management system on dairy, poultry, and eggs dates back to the 1970s, setting production limits for farmers while guaranteeing prices and controlling market access, something Smith says Donald Trump does not like.
He's definitely mentioned supply management, and I can tell you that that's a conversation that we're going to need to have.
The thought of a premier or anyone else being that open to, willingly open the door for even further beyond that is definitely a point of concern.
David Webb of Egg Farmers of Alberta says producers already gave up 1.5% access or 11 million dozen eggs in the last Canada-United States-Mexico agreement and don't want to give up more of the market.
It would just mean limited opportunities for Canadian dairy, poultry, and egg farmers to be able to provide fresh local food.
The average egg producer in Canada owns anywhere between $20 to $30 million worth of quotas. Why would they actually want to get rid of it?
This agri-food analyst says while opening market access comes with uncertainty, Alberta also stands to benefit from blowing up trade barriers.
Alberta is probably one of the provinces that actually paid a higher price. Central Canada has benefited from barriers, which is why for decades, we haven't really dealt with this issue.
And some federal officials still do not want to.
You're not going to concede on supply management.
Correct.
Alberta's agriculture minister says Alberta's government remains committed to standing up for our agricultural producers and maintaining a stable and reliable trading relationship with the U.S. He will attend a new provincial tariff committee Wednesday.
Okay, Gets and Gubs. Now, for those listening on audio, the last male voice you heard was Sylvain Charlebois, the food professor.
Yeah.
Allegedly rather controversial, so you might want to take what his comments are in there with a grain of salt. But the thing you will notice here is that which province in Canada is supply management really important to, particularly of dairy?
Quebec, isn't it?
Uh-huh. So the lady who is I'm on Team Canada, but don't touch my stuff. Just went again. Well, Donald Trump says he wants it, so I guess we should need to talk about that. Here you go, Quebec, right under the bus.
Yeah.
Don't touch my oil, but supply management is a discussion that we will need to have because Donald Trump wants to have it. But she's on Team Canada, y'all. We're really putting our agriculture people first. We're really fighting for them. We're fighting to maintain our link with the U.S. market. You're fighting to maintain a deal again with a man whose word means nothing and has threatened and that's how you're protecting farmers rather than actually protecting the actual supply management. You want to try to protect the relationship with the United States that is not working and is worth nothing at the moment. That's your focus, Danielle. Okay.
I just
sabotage. That's all it's sabotage. Left, right, and center. A couple of things wanted to mention that I did not mention on the last show, and I had forgotten. I don't know why. But we never talked about the national anthem. Actually, at that hockey game. Chantal Kraviatzik that came up, and she made the change of the lyrics to rather in. Or
all
maybe
of us command.
we did talk about it, I think.
Only us command. Yeah.
Yeah. True patriot love, that only us command. But there was another moment that night when they brought on the honorary team captains. And it would seem that the honorary team captain for Team Canada was Wayne Gretzky. And in the current context, that did not go over well. There's a lot of people in Canada going, the person who made that decision may benefit from a performance review meeting. Because Haley Wickenheiser would have been a really good choice. Mary Lemieux would have been a good choice. Ken Dryden would have been a good choice. I hear Paul Henderson's still alive.
Yeah.
But real. Okay. Choices. People make choices. For those of you who happen to be of the Catholic faith, as you heard in the news, the Pope Francis, 88, not doing very well. Has been in the hospital for about 10 days. Started with an admission on Friday for the treatment of bronchitis. Was diagnosed with a polymicrobial respiratory tract infection. Basically led to pneumonia. Had required a longer stay in hospital. If you've seen pictures, he's been puffier. That's a result of some of the medication. It seems that he's had his respiratory infection was complicated by asthmatic bronchitis and had some attacks. Apparently, he hasn't had attacks for the last couple of days, I think since Saturday, so he's doing a little better. But it seems that now whatever's happened is now affecting his kidneys. And they're worried. The main worry right now is sepsis, that infection in his blood would spread to other organs. Although he seems to be stable, but still critical. So we'll hear about that. And the big irony, of course, is as this is going on, the film Conclave that I talked to you about is winning all the awards. It won the BAFTA not too long ago for Best British Film, Best Editing, Best Screenplay. And at the Screen Guild Awards last night, it won again there. So as a new Conclave might be coming, the movie Conclave is winning all the awards. Just ironic timing.
Yeah.
And I do recommend the movie. If you want great acting, Conclave.
I'll have a look at it. I keep reading great things about it, so I'll give it a look.
It's well written.
I just wanted to remind everybody in the province of Ontario that we have an election on Thursday.
Yes.
It's been going on for a few weeks now. And when, I've told you, when you get to the ballot box to cast your vote, remember, vote for your community, your neighbors, your family members, your coworkers. Vote for the person who will do the best by all of them and for all of them, including the guy down the street with the autistic child. Right. The seniors in the retirement homes that are not getting the care that they absolutely deserve. And remember, this one I'm going to direct to the women especially. Remember what and how Doug Ford thinks about women.
We're in the middle of a hostile government.
I'm going to kill the music because I don't want to get a violation. But let me start this clip over and I'll read it to you. So the first thing, what Doug Ford says about women says even more about him. From commenting on Kathleen Wynne's smile to insulting female reporters, Ford's sexist rhetoric is revealing. October 24th, 2014, I can't stand that little bitch. Stop whining, Doug Ford tells Bonnie Crombie, mayors criticizing housing law. December 7th, 2022, from the Canadian Press. Doug Ford says he is a big Republican at U.S. Business Conference, published September 20th, 2019, edited February 11th, 2025. New, Premier Ford praises Taylor Swift and the economic impact she will have on Toronto, calling her brilliant, but adds she should stick with music and let other folks stick with what they do best. Swift recently endorsed Kamala Harris for U.S. president. That was October 15th, 2024. Imagine having kids in your house all day long. You're trying to work from home or even come from home from work. It's a real challenge. February 3rd, 2021. Number one, you shouldn't be teaching our kids, the premier added. But number two, stick with your knitting. Stick with teaching the kids the geography, history, math, spelling. That's what they need. What? I figure I'm the only politician in Ontario that has to deal with 5 women in their house every day. February 7th, 2018. It's like listening to nails on a chalkboard listening to you. February 17th, 2021. Ford rejects calls to apologize after comparing Horvath's criticism to nails on a chalkboard. I voted, but not for Doug Ford. Vote February 27th. I killed the music so we don't get I don't know if if we'd get a copyright violation, it's 30 seconds, but I'd like to avoid that altogether if I could. I might have to edit that little couple of seconds out at the beginning there. But yes, it's an election on Thursday in the province of Ontario. Remember to vote for the person who will do best by you, your community, your friends, your family, your neighbors, and the people who need help the most. It ain't going to be Doug Ford to do that.
No.
So don't vote Conservative. Vote for whoever you want, but I urge you not to vote Conservative. I'm not telling you, I'm urging you not to vote Conservative.
Do we have a show, Mr. Grizzly?
We do indeed, sir.
All right, kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. Please tell your peeps and poops all about us. Really means a lot to us that you do. If you would like to not miss an episode, you don't have to, thanks to the Ray Girl who sponsors our pod page, especially if you're listening to our ears only version, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. If you click subscribe when you go there, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, we come directly to you. If you'd like to help us in other ways, surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page where kids Cassie and Elaine will be waiting for you to urge you to click, flick, and lick our buttons. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps us with the algorithm when you do. Thank you so much. And if you would like to help us in other ways, kits and cubs, we do incur some costs to bring this show to you. And if you would like to help us with those, we have a little tip jar. We affectionately call it the Emergency Hydration Fund because, as you can tell, my voice is going again, and we need your help to keep your beaver moist. Dry beaver is such a shame. Such a shame. So if you would like to encourage moist beaver, then please go down to our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And if you're able to donate a little something there, we thank you so very much. Now, if you want to buy Canadian and not support a US CE bro, just send a direct transfer to truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Gets automatically deposited. And the bonus is that we get 100% of your donation, and all of it supports Canadian businesses, Canadian banks, and us.
And you know what we
Rather
forgot to
than go
do
through
on
PayPal.
Friday, this past Friday, I forgot to set a fundraising goal for the day so we can have our dance party on the Saturday, but I completely forgot to do it. So I guess we'll have to do it this Friday. We'll have another fundraising for the day and see if we can. I haven't figured out what it'll be yet. We'll come up with a number and a figure, and if we hit the number during the show, and it's usually 30 or 60 minutes, I can't remember. If we hit the number during the show, we'll have a dance party on the Saturday.
Woohoo! I could use one. All right, let's see, what else do we have here? Because democracy is something that you do, remember there's a Quebec Liberal leadership race tonight. If you are voting in the Liberal leadership race, the federal one, it's the French language debates. The English language debates will happen tomorrow. If you're a Francophone in Ontario, there was a French debate-ish discussion on the 19th. You'd probably want to look it up. It was probably on TV Ontario, La Chaîne Française. So please look that up on the web if you're looking at. I haven't watched it yet, but I will, and get back to you on that type of stuff as well. And of course, if you're in Ontario, early voting is now over. If you asked to vote by mail, remember you have to get it in by 6 o'clock on Thursday. So for those of you who might be having a vote by mail package who will be arriving, that would be arriving today, because the last day to order it was the 21st, and you need to fill it in today and put it in the mail today, or bring it to your returning office. Bring it to your returning office personally, and to make sure that it gets counted, right? Don't mail it on election day. It will not be accepted. It has to be there by 6 p.m. on election day. So fill out your Doug Ford removal kit very quickly if you are receiving it today. There's also a by-election in Manitoba. Please keep your eyes out for that and find out about your candidates. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom?
No, I don't today, man. I'm just trying to keep my shit together is what I'm trying to do. And I do have a couple of Easter eggs for the post-credits roll, though. I don't have anything for you today, man. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to hang on with both hands right now.
Okay. I will. I'll say I'll have a couple of Easter egg things too, and let's just cue the cock, Mr. Grizzly.
Okay, just give me a sec here while I locate it. I had to.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
So, got a few Easter eggs. I'm going to start off with a cute one. I don't need to show you anything. I'll just read it to you. This is from Sopranos World, at Sopranos World. It says, seasonal depression isn't real, in quotes, isn't real, until you get a warm day in February and realize you've been dead inside for months. So the next ones I am going to share with you on screen, and I'll read them for the audio, the ears version. There's a couple of them, and they're all about the list of things you did this week at work, and send it to your manager. Last week's summary. Hello, I wanted to, hang on a sec till I blow it up so I can see it. Hello, I wanted to reach out with an overview of what I did last week at work with the hope that I am able to keep my job. My manager was on vacation last week, so my workday looked a little different than usual. Last week's accomplishments. Number 1, watched episodes of Family Guy in my cubicle. Number 2, stole my coworker's iPad and sold it on Facebook Marketplace. Number 3, took several extended bathroom breaks so I could yank my hog to pictures of Elon Musk pre-hair transplants. Number 4, Retrieved the dead raccoon from our parking lot and covered him in Band-Aids. Rest in peace. Number 5, took a nap in my manager's office. I appreciate all you're doing for our great country. Please let me keep my job. So that was the first one. Let me find the second one. They're really funny. For some reason, each time I use them, the scrolls go away. Okay, this one is a little bit more specific, and bear with me while I bring it up here. It's a little bit more detailed. I can't blow it up any more than that, unfortunately. So it says, "Dear ketamine-cooked Nazi, here are 5 of my accomplishments from this week. Number 1, making sure everybody knows that you're an unelected immigrant Nazi bureaucrat. Number 2, calling Republicans and asking them to speak out against you because nobody fucking elected you, Nazi. Number 3, posting about you being a Nazi across all of my socials. Number 4, appeared on 3 podcasts to talk about you being a Nazi. Number 5, I cleaned my cat's litter boxes, which reminded me that you're a humongous piece of shit Nazi. And I'll be doing the exact same thing this week and every week until you get the fuck out of my government. Tara Dublin."
Damn.
Good one. That's a good one. And then the last one is, I think it's funny because it will strike a chord if you're of a certain age. This one is really funny, I think. "Dear manager, number 1, I drank a whiskey drink. Number 2, I drank a vodka drink. Number 3, I drank a lager drink. Number 4, I drank a cider drink. Number 5, I sang the songs that remind you of the good times. I sang the song that reminds me of the better times. I thought those were all worthwhile and that they deserve to be shared."
Oh my God, I love that. Oh, that's perfect. On my end, big congratulations, of course, to Team Homan winning the Scotties this year. Perfect record, went all the way through. I think that's their longest streak at the Scotties undefeated was 22 matches in a row. I don't know if they've crossed it yet, but they're on the second streak. That's good. That's getting close to that now. But once again, they are human. Okay, they are human. Just know they are human. They're real people. They're not just machines. They're human, but they're just so phenomenally good. It's just ridiculous. And Kids and Cubs, thank you. The time with you did help. I got to read some of your comments there early in the show. Welled up again, but this time because you touched me. I thank you for the love. I will improve. Things will get better. We had conversations and chats and stuff like that afterwards. And so, I mean, so we are good. But it's, I'm going to probably be wearing a cone of shame, self-imposed, for a while. So,
that happens.
But, thank you for the love, for the understanding. And like I said, being able to talk about other stuff and share a couple of laughs, spend time with you, my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Thank you. Did good for my soul. So I love you, and it's real.
Love you too, brother. I want to share one last thing before we sign off for the day. It's Michael Dieter, a political cartoon from the Hill Times. And it's pretty accurate. I'll describe it for the listeners. It is Pierre Poilievre kneeling on the chest of a reporter with his hands around his neck, and the thought bubble is, I don't understand why the media doesn't like me.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate, eh?
Hey, our editorial cartoonists these days are it's not subtle.
They're knocking out of the park. I don't know how they can keep up.
I know. All right, everyone. Have a beaverific day.
We'll see you.